Well, ladies and gentlemen, as we roll into the holiday season, a majority of people thinking about Christmas, thinking about New Year's, thinking about wrapping those presents, having a couple of cocktails with friends and family. But so many karters in this sport, when it comes to Christmas, they're thinking about Daytona. They're thinking about WKA Kart Week, when kart racing invades the hallowed grounds of the Daytona International Speedway between Christmas and New Year's. Hello, folks. My name is Rob Howden. This is episode number 14 of the Industry Insider here on the EKN Radio Network, December 20th, 2018, almost done with the season. And again, when you talk about WK Kart Week, the World Karting Association, they really kick things off. It's not really the end of 2018. It's more the start of 2019, kicking off, of course, the Manufacturers' Cup program and just getting everything rolling. Joining us here today on the EKN Radio Network, thrilled to have Kevin Williams and Mike Tetreault with us. Kevin, of course, the president of the WKA, Mike Tetreault, the chairman of the board. Gentlemen, start with Kevin. Thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to chat with us here on EKN Radio.
Rob, thank you, and to all the EKN listeners, this is truly an honor. Appreciate the invitation, and like anything else, I love to talk racing.
Exactly. Mike, great to have you with us here as well.
Hey, thanks, Rob. Really appreciate it, and looking forward to talking to the racers.
Yeah, we got a lot of stuff we're going to hit on over this hour. Again, those of you who are listening in, whether you're listening on the website at ekartingnews.com/radio, or potentially you've downloaded the EKN Radio Network app, we appreciate that. A lot of great stuff planned for 2019. But before we talk 2019, guys, let's go back and look at 2018 first. Let's just give me your thoughts overall on how things went for the WKA this past season.
Well, it was a tremendous year, but it was also a challenge, a lot of uphill battles. For those of you that don't know, even though I've been with WK for many years, I became president with the trust of the Board of Trustees right around April 1st, and we had a lot of things to get done. We were handed a schedule and some opportunities that we jumped on right away and made some changes and did some things to benefit the members. But Mike and my first, and the board, our first order of business was to return WK to the membership, and because that's really the foundation of the organization, as we're really truly the only quote-unquote association left. And 2018 presented some challenge that we had to tighten up some things and muscle through the year and try and make it the best for our membership.
Mike, would you concur? Obviously, a major shift, as Kevin had alluded to it, the end of March and through into April, he took the kind of over the reins, and it really, I would expect, and you can kind of comment on this, probably would put a different just a different outlook. Anytime you have a different leader, you're going to come in with, different outlooks, different ways of doing business, a different personality. Would you concur that a big shift, of course, early on in 2018?
Yeah, I would agree with Kevin. It just a lot of things had to change a little bit, and we had to make a lot of adjustments going forward and trying to give WK a good identity. Changing track location and just reigniting the marketing program and trying to talk to our customers, our racers. Both of us made phone calls to the big teams and spoke to a lot of members and things like that. And that was important to get the name out there again and get us out there and talking to people and get some trust built back into it. Not that we didn't have trust, but just to recontinue the trust factor.
Well, I think, Kevin obviously made a very good delineation when it comes to the sport now. And I talk to a lot of people that get upset maybe about the fact they don't think that some of the other organizations, of course, in quotations, that maybe they're not listening to the members to a certain way or whatever it may be. But, Kevin, you said it. You guys are really the only member organization really still around. All the other organizations are not really organizations. They're companies, right? They're businesses that run races. And they're private companies, and they do what they want quickly when they want to. You guys remain, the WK does, the World Karting Association, the only really member-owned, member-run program in karting here in the United States.
And that's absolutely right. I've always said the greatest asset in motorsports is people. And, WK is certainly a people person. organization, and it's made up of the members. We listen to them. I told the board when they put their trust in me and Mike, I said, guys, I don't know if I have 20 hours a day to be on the phone, but we we did the best we could. And another thing we wanted to do was reestablish our relationship with all the other karting organizations. And so often I see people make the comment that why aren't the organizations talking? Well, I can tell you firsthand, the other organizations are talking. We're talking to everybody. We may not agree on things. We may not do things together, but we've talked to every single organization from sprint racing to road racing to dirt racing. We even held a roundtable back in October with the dirt community. Again, to talk to the members and tracks and clubs and our members also. So that was always beneficial to the WK in the past. And again, we brought ourselves back to that because we are an association.
I would think we're probably going to, when we get into talking about 2019, we're going to see some of the fruits of those conversations that you've had, some of those roundtables that you did have, which I have no doubt would have fueled some of the decisions that were made moving into the 2019 season. Now, Kevin, you take the reins of the organization as the president, of course, working for the board of trustees. I would assume you were probably putting out a lot of fires early on. It was, it was one of those things where what do they say? You're drinking out of a fire hose. So much stuff coming at you. Now, 8 months down the line, do you feel like that is the hose turned down a little bit, a little less flow?
Yeah, it has. That's a nice way to put it, mild way to put it. But we did have to put out some fires, and like Mike said, we had to reestablish a lot of relationships. And I was trained by my dad, and we're just a family that likes to get people in racing and keep them in racing. Yeah. And that's it. That's really it. So, and if we could do that, if WK can play a major part in karting for the United States, we're going to do that. And nothing against the past leadership. Everybody had their heart into it. But we had to call a lot of people and reestablish a relationship and say, let's forget about what happened in the past and let's try and grow the sport from the bottom to the top, from the top to the bottom, sideways, always. So I feel that we have a lot more stability now. And a lot of the fires are put out, and now we're, again, returning the organization to the members and working on growth, which I'm sure we'll talk about later in the program.
Let's talk to Mike. Mike, I'll let you look back. You've, of course, been with the WK at the top levels for a number of years. And I know Kevin, of course, was there as well as a liaison to the CIK-FIA. Let's ask one question before we move on to talk about 2019, what's coming up. Mike, let's say you look back at 2018, is there one bright point, one move you guys made, or one kind of area where you guys really feel, hey man, we made a lot of inroads. We made a lot of improvements this past season since Kevin came on board. Is there one that stands out for you?
Yeah. Talking to the customers and getting the teams on board. We had a lot of programs that just didn't support us due to various reasons. Yeah. And that's in communication, lots and lots of communication, and asking opinions when we'll talk about the Charlotte thing. I researched a lot of feedback, and we'll get into that from the teams. When we made the decision to move to Norway, we got the communication from the teams. We didn't just say this is what it's going to be. This is what we're doing. Communication. That's the biggest thing. I talk to a lot of people because obviously I know a lot of people, and they just want to, sometimes they say, hey, I don't got time, but most of them want to just talk and they give you your idea. Now, of course, we're not always going to be able to give them everything they want, but at least they feel like they have their opinion and they have some input into it.
Yeah, no doubt about that. If the racers feel like their voice is being heard, that obviously changes something.
And the teams drive the racers.
Somebody pick up the phone.
Yeah.
I love it. Listen, Mike goes and answers the phone. We're going to cut to a quick. Let's go to a quick commercial break, folks. We've got Kevin Williams and Mike Tetreault from World Karting Association joining us here on the Industry Insider, episode number 14. Again, my name's Rob Howden. Stay with us on the other side of this break. It's time to start talking about the 2019 season.
I'm Chris Wheeler from Bell Racing USA, and I listen to the EKN Radio Network 24/7.
As a world leader in personal racing safety products with a sales and service staff and dealer network unmatched in motorsports, Simpson Performance Products is now the official North American distributor for Stilo helmets. In addition to their wildly popular auto racing helmets, Stilo is extremely excited to have made their move into the karting community with a pair of stellar options. Stilo has two helmets designed and manufactured specifically for karting: the Stilo ST5 CMR 2016 for kids, and the Stilo ST5 Kart Snell K 2015 adult karting helmet. The company's karting helmets are directly derived from Stilo's auto racing helmets that are so popular at the top levels of racing. Drivers rave about the superior comfort levels, as well as Stilo's lightweight construction and unparalleled field of vision, a crucial attribute for karting. For more information on Stilo, check them out at simpsonperformanceproducts.com/Stilo or by following them on social media at Stilo USA.
Hello, karting fans. This is Andy Saisman, and you are locked in to the EKN Radio Network.
Le Mans, Daytona, Sebring, the most legendary endurance races in the world, where man and machine push the limits of physics in an attempt to beat their competition and the clock. Now you can add the SimCraft 24 Hours of Orlando with USAC Karting to your list of must-attend endurance events. This brand new 24-hour endurance race is taking place on March 29th to 31st at the Orlando Karting Center in Florida. Plus, this is an event you can do in your own kart. There are arrive and drive kart packages available in addition to OEM and bring your own kart options. All entries will receive a fresh Briggs 206 engine package, tires and fuel, and the engine is yours to take home post-race. Do not miss out on the must-attend karting endurance event of 2019. The entry deadline is February 1st, 2019. Go to 24hoursorlando.com. That's 24HRSofOrlando.com or the Facebook event page at Facebook/24HRS of Orlando for more information.
Hello, karting fans. This is Sean Bailiff with Trendy Karting Group, and you're locked into the EKN Radio Network.
Welcome back to episode number 14 of the Industry Insider here on the EKN Radio Network. My name's Rob Howden, joined by the big dogs of the WKA, the World Karting Association, Kevin Williams, the president, and Mike Tetreault, the chairman of the board. Guys, we look back at 2018 before the break, and you know what? Everything you guys did, like you said, moving forward, talking to the customers, you made some changes, as Mike had alluded to. You know, of course, the Manufacturers' Cup was heading to New Jersey. That was a long drive for everybody. You talked to the teams, like, hey, let's go to Norway instead. I thought that was a good move based on just where the core drivers are coming from for Man Cup. So that was obviously listening to the membership. Moving forward, you guys have had a chance to take a deep breath. And I know it may not feel that way, but there was no races, for a month and a half, 2 months. You guys get to reset now. You've been working all year, of course, on WK Kart Week at Daytona. Let's start off with that. Essentially, you press the reset button. Everything you did this year now culminates in getting things fresh and rolling back at Daytona once again. Let's start with Daytona. How are your thoughts going in there? We're only, not even a week away, just over a week away from rolling on track for the first time. How are the numbers in the three programs? And give me your thoughts.
Yeah, so, I haven't even wrapped my holiday presents yet because we've been doing all the Daytona.
Yep.
But, Daytona really starts when we drive off there last year. And, we shake the hands of our wonderful host, the Daytona International Speedway. And then we start working on rules package with our awesome volunteers on the committees and the trustees in midsummer. Then we start on the rule book. And all the while preparing for Daytona. And Daytona is a gigantic undertaking. And we do it, again, for one reason, and one reason only, and that's to provide a safe, fair venue that's really cool for the racers, and that's why we do it. Why we do it, and we'll be celebrating our 44th year there this year, making next year the 45th year. Daytona numbers, we strengthen our relationship with Bridgestone for the sprint racing, with Vega tires, and the great folks at TS Racing for road racing. And then we established a relationship with the wonderful partners at Maxxis Tires. And those relationships help us put on a great race and provide a wonderful venue and attraction for the racers. And one benefit is this year the Daytona event is a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, which, since for those of you who don't know, it's always 28, 29, and 30, and we have to go with the days they fall on. Thankfully, this year it's on a weekend, so that helps. all the effort of our office staff, all the effort everybody's put into, our numbers are up double digits in all the programs. Double-digit percentages in the programs.
Nice.
Man Cup is up about 40% right now, and the Dirt program is such a different, unique program this year with Maxxis that it's tough to compare them with previous years. So it's kind of a great new excitement for everybody this year. We did some additional track preparations to the track. We brought in a very well trusted track prep person for the dirt track, and that's helped our numbers grow. And so Mike just came back, and I'll let him talk further. He just came back from there just this week with the setup. So and the Speedway is very pleased with how things are progressing.
Mike, before I let you jump in to talk about that, just for you listeners here on the EKN Radio Network who might not be fully versed on WK Kart Week, essentially, everyone knows Daytona International Speedway, the home, of course, the Daytona 500. The WK Manufacturers Cup Sprint Series runs on a sprint track, which is essentially used with a lot of the access roads inside turns 3 and 4. Great racetrack. Then, of course, the road racers run on the big track, which is always fantastic, and as Kevin alluded to, 45 years they've been doing this. I know that when I was a kid, looking at books about karting, you could see pictures of guys running on the big track, and that just blew me away. And then, of course, the oval on the outside of turn number 1. A number of years ago, the oval event, the Speedway Dirt event, was run at Municipal Stadium, which was just outside the city of Daytona. It's since moved to a track that the AMA had built at one point. Now I believe they use it just for the karting event. So it's a big race, always has been. And of course, I was happy to hear that you guys hooked up with Maxxis as well, because they, of course, have a solid program for the Dirt Oval guys. So, Mike, you were down doing recon. You want to give us a little update on how things are going down at Daytona?
Well, what we do is we go down early and we lay out the parking. We have a team meeting with the Speedway, with the CEO of the Speedway, Andrew Gertis, and his team. And just get everything lined up, get our radios down there, our pods down there, our tents are all put up. Just makes the whole move-in process a lot easier. One thing that makes this whole event click is obviously, yes, the change to the Maxxis tire, I think, brings a lot of entry and a lot of everything to the event. And it's a long, hard job to get everything ready there for that.
Yeah, I can hear it in your voice there, Ken. You can hear it too, right?
we actually, a couple other benefits. We have an extremely good relationship with the Visitors Authority in Daytona Beach, and they've arranged. There's a brand new entertainment facility across the street from the Speedway called One Daytona. They welcomed our group with open arms, and you'll see some social media announcements this week. They've got some discounts, so they can our racers can go over there and relax a little bit with restaurants, movies, all kinds of things. So the city has just been welcoming us with open arms, and that makes it really, really kind of nice too. Last year, the event was nominated as the best amateur sports event of the year. We got runner-up, but still, that's pretty good. We lost to the Little League World Series, but what are you going to do?
What do you do there? So, looking at Man Cup, Kevin, you said some pretty good numbers in terms of an increase in growth. Margay Ignite, you have them back again. Obviously, a fantastic program with Margay and, of course, the 206 drivers. over 40 drivers, and you said you were trying to get. You told me before you're trying to get Rubens Barrichello to come in and play.
Yeah.
But Zach Veach is going to be there. Gabby Chavez, Juan Pedrojita, James French. Got a quartet of some pretty good professional drivers coming back to play again.
They are, and I think there's going to be some vicious bragging rights at the end of this weekend, which is going to be fun to watch them because all four of those drivers are class acts, and they understand that some of the drivers are grassroots level. They understand some pros are in there, but those guys are true professionals, and we're happy to have them back. Our other classes we reestablished our relationship with Briggs this year, so we've got a Briggs cadet category that's very strong. The board made the decision to bring back the kid karts on a national level because basically that's really the start of karting for everybody, right? So, and that's very strong. Our relationship with IAME has been a huge help. So we can we offer all the classes for the age categories, and all the classes are really looking strong. So it's going to be a great weekend.
Well, let's segue from there. I think that's a great segue into starting to preview the 3 series that we can look at for 2019. We'll start with the Manufacturers Cup program. Kevin, you had mentioned that the Briggs 206 cadet class coming in, I think, will be a good option for young drivers who want to get more seat time. You've got the Micro Swift, the Mini Swift. You've got the X30 Junior and the X30 Senior. A big move for this year, and you can comment on a little bit. I'm going to expect that it probably came from, number one, the numbers you saw this year and the feedback you got from customers. The Yamaha class is now off the Manufacturers Cup. You're bringing in the KA100 Junior and KA100 Senior, which we've seen a lot of excitement from coast to coast with that program. Talk a little bit about that move for the Manufacturers Cup.
Sure. Yeah. So, listen, we love the Yamaha package. We've offered it for years and years. We simply were not servicing our members by offering Yamaha. They just didn't show up. And again, we're going back to this is a membership organization. So the way to do that was listening to the members, and they wanted to go with the KA100, which is a modern version, and it's onboard starter, right? So a great air-cooled motor, great package, and it's what the membership wanted. And because of the board making the decision to drop the Yamaha simply due to lack of participation, we still had to take care of the cadet sportsman age driver, and that the Briggs 206 has been so fantastic in a lot of areas. Why not bring that in for them? So, and they're actually fast. I was surprised, but those guys are very fast.
My concept on that, my feeling has always been this, is the fact that the 206 classes, my day, but when running 4-cycle, whenever, that's about speed, that's about smooth and momentum, right? So you're going to teach these kids, they're going to be running their micro and mini, but they're also going to be able to run the 206 and really work on that, on that smoothness with the 206. You can't waste any momentum in a 4-cycle, that's for sure.
For sure.
Well, I will tell you, the 206 class, 100% came feedback from our members and our teams.
Oh, good.
That 206 cadet wasn't something we pulled out of it. That was suggested by several teams. We discussed it with our committees, and we put it forward, and it's paying off. I think it's like 20, 27, 28 entries for Daytona already.
That's great.
For cadet, of all things.
So let's look at the Manufacturers Cup's schedule, guys. And Mike, you can maybe comment on the choice of venues. 6 races. They're going to take the best 4. And David Cole and I have talked a lot about the fact we think 6 is too much, but you guys, of course, again, listening to your membership, which is good. Daytona kicking things off. Then you guys go to GoPro at the end of March. Of course, Mooresville, North Carolina, fantastic facility. You go up to Road America, which I think is awesome. Elkhart Lake, obviously, is a great town, just such a motorsports-friendly place. Road America and a great track. I love that facility there. Then you move to Charlotte. We won't talk too much about the Charlotte event because we're going to cap off this particular segment talking about the new Charlotte race. Then you're back to Badger up in Dousman, and then you wrap the season at Newcastle Motorsports Park in mid-October. Mike, your thoughts on the schedule itself? You're pretty happy with the cross-section based on input from your teams?
The first schedule we put forth in July was okay. It was good. We made some changes here at the end of the year to add the Charlotte event and add the Road America event. Again, talking to some people, seeing what their thoughts were. What we wanted to do was try to give WK its own identity. Yeah. A lot of series just run the same classes. We run the same classes as other series. So we thought if we added the identity of, we have a Daytona, we have a Charlotte, we have a Road America, and then you cap it off with, great tracks like Mooresville and Newcastle and Badger. It just made a lot of people happy. The Charlotte event, announcing the Charlotte event when we did, definitely helped our organization going forward. It excited a lot of people. It excited a lot of old-time people. I know people like Jamie Saraki are super stoked about the idea of going back to Charlotte, even though it's not the same course, but just the idea of just going to Charlotte.
Yeah.
It's a great venue, and it's, we all had a lot of great things happen down there, and it's just been a lot of fun over the years. So I'm glad we're returning there.
Yeah, Mike, with with so many series racing and different groups and whatever it may be, everybody's got their own identity, like you said. Now, I like that. I think that's a great line for you guys to do something a bit different, get out of your, I won't say comfort zone, but get out of where you guys have been for the last number of years and say, here's who we are. This is what we do. We're at, like you said, we're at Daytona. We're going to Road America, and we're going back to Charlotte, which has been a place, for how many years? So it's the North American Karting Championships. Again, we'll talk about that down the line, but that was back in the mid-'90s, late 90s. So we're talking 20 years WEK has had that deep connection with the Charlotte Motor Speedway. So I look forward to talking more about that. But let's jump into road race now, because I think that the National Road Race Series is a place where you guys really have you've taken a loss, a bit of a hit in the loss of VIR, but you guys come back. And Kevin talks about some of the roundtable meetings you guys have had. What I like, 6 race series for this year: Daytona, Roebling Road, Gateway, Charlotte, Heartland Park, Topeka, and the NCM Motorsports Park, the Corvette Museum facility. Guys, talk about the fact, and this is big, I think, that you're partnering with the CES and CART for a couple of events this year. I think that's a really cool deal to reach out and kind of go across party line.
Sure. And as you know, my background's heavily in sprint and road racing, so that's a market that is big in my heart as well. But from an association, and I safely speak for all the other road racing organizers, the biggest challenge is not necessarily, everybody thinks it's the age of the drivers, which that's not the challenge. The challenge is the tracks are very popular, and they only have 52 weeks a year. And it's really tough to get karts on those type of tracks. I mean, imagine what you have to try and do. And being one of those tracks, you got IMSA and IndyCar and all these other organizations that want to use their track as well. There's testing, there's schools, there's there's driver experiences. And so the biggest challenge with road racing is the cost of the tracks and getting on the tracks. So one of the things we wanted to do was, as I mentioned before, we talked to all the organizations and said, listen, let's do a few less races on our calendar, which you may notice we've done one less this year, where we had 7 last year, and let's try and do more efforts together. That way that, the track is still there. We're there for the racers. It's a lot of the same people, and we can show some synergy between each other. And that's really where it all started. And we were real happy to establish our relationship again with CES, and then of course we had a strong relationship with CART already, and it makes sense for them to, it's a big karting party is what road race is, and why not service that member?
Kevin, you've obviously been around the sport for a long time. I've had a chance to announce with your dad before, and love that. The Williams name's been around for a long time, so you know what road racing has been and what it's, how much of a part of karting it's always been. And it seems like, you brought up a couple of things. I think the layman or the driver, maybe the sprint racer who goes racing on the weekends, has no idea the ridiculous. I use the word ridiculous, but it's the massive cost it costs to rent these major, these racetracks, these full size racetracks. People don't realize the expense, and as you said, the challenge, because there's so much competition in terms of people trying to get dates, and date equity is so important in our sport, in road racing, holding on to these dates and making sure that karting and road racing has that stability. Can you talk a little bit about the conversations that you've had with Dave Larson and with the folks at CART about just working together more to try to make sure that road racing for karting hangs around for a number of years to come.
Sure. What really helps is our road race committee does a great job establishing those relationships as well. But I basically, and I'll tell you the same thing I've told everybody. I've told all the other organizations, listen, renting these facilities is expensive. Why not? Let's do something together. It's we're basically talking about sun up to sundown and do it together. We all put a little extra money in our pocket by not paying so much rent, and everybody likes it. I mean, you don't see us working with everybody this year, but I foresee in the next 1 to 3 years that you'll see us working with more organizations all the time, and the same for them.
I like that. I think that anytime our sport can come together, and I understand there's different factions and different companies, different organizations, as we've talked about before. For me, it's one of those things where if anytime we're working together, we're moving in the right direction. Even if it's a phone call, even if it's just to do with a little bit about trying to stay off each other's schedules, but working together at the track, I think is of course something that's absolutely unbelievable.
I so agree.
It's what needs to happen, especially in road racing.
Yep.
Now, guys, let's wrap it up in terms of the categories. Speedway dirt is, not obviously something that most of our EKN listeners talk about because for so many of them are either road racers or sprint racers. The dirt program, though, near and dear to my heart. I had a dirt magazine for a number of years. I've done a bunch of dirt racing as well. Talk about how you guys are approaching Speedway dirt racing under the WK banner here in 2019.
I can talk about that a little bit.
Perfect.
Me and Kevin went down to Triple T back in the beginning of May to just meet some of the teams and talk to a lot of the members and see what the needs were down there. And they gave us a lot of feedback. Met a lot of great people. I had a little bit of history in the dirt market back with the Firestone days, but a lot of those businesses that were there then aren't there anymore. So for me, it was a little bit, a little new. But there were some good people like Harold Wiggins and people like that have been around a long time. And the biggest thing was just to hear them out. And a lot of the stuff we built, class structure, rules, everything that's leading up to Daytona was feedback from them. We didn't know what, back when WK did this, the classes were Briggs. Obviously, a lot of it is clone and all this other stuff now. So we had to learn a whole new thing. And, I'm really excited about the event, coming up in Daytona. I think we've listened to a lot of people. And I think we're going to, we're not going to bring it back to what the glory days were, but, we're going to do our best. We brought back one of our race directors from way back when, Ronnie Miller.
I heard that.
And,
that's right.
We're really excited about that. Spoke with Ronnie several times on the phone. Great guy, well respected in the sport. And, just bring back the WK pastime of what it was. We made some mistakes back in the day, which cost us this. And, we just want to get back into it and support our racers. And the biggest thing they want is communication. They need help with race directing. They need help with their tech rooms. They need help with their rules. That's the most important thing they got going forward.
And that's what an association does.
Agreed. That's exactly what an association does, Kevin. Now, to wrap that up, so just the two official dirt races this year, correct? The Daytona race and Charlotte. Is that what WK's got under their sanction for this year?
Yeah, well on a national level.
Yeah.
Listen, but we're working hard to support the regional programs and local programs. One way to help the dirt community is not come in there with a full bore bunch of national races saying you got to come to all these things to be a great dirt racer. So we have these two national races, Charlotte and Daytona. And still allow our member tracks and our member clubs to still have their programs, their regions, those type of things. And, these guys race sometimes 2 or 3 times a weekend at 2 or 3 different places every single weekend. Recently, they've had a lot of bad weather in that part of the country, in the southeast part of the country. And some of them haven't raced since Thanksgiving, and they're like chomping at the bit. So I don't blame them.
Yeah, no kidding.
So anyway, but no, we didn't want to be the big behemoth. Our better way our most efficient way to help that member is to be an association and not just be a national race promoter.
I like that. This is, folks, the 14th episode of the Industry Insider. I'm Rob Howden here on the EKN Radio Network. We're speaking with WKA brass Kevin Williams and Mike Tetreault, talking all about the 2019 season. And I think to wrap up 2019 and the look forward, we have to put the spotlight on this brand new event, the race coming at Charlotte Motor Speedway. For those of you who have not been in the sport for 20 years, man, that race, at one point it was the North American Karting Championships. We ran on the big track with road race. There was a sprint race there as well. We had actually the CIK World Championships in Formula C there in 1998. The Formula A and Super A ran there. Some big guys like Fernando Alonso, Kimi Räikkönen, all ran at the Charlotte Motor Speedway in this massive FIA event. It was incredible. There was a pavement race at Outback Speedway on the back straightaway. There was, of course, the Briggs & Stratton 300 on the front straight using the pit lane, the inner oval. It was just a major event back in the 1990s, which was such a feather in the cap for WKA, which is that race that everybody came to near the end of the year. Guys, what you're essentially doing is trying to put another marquee event together for the WK. You guys have Daytona. You know how to put on a race like that. This one here, of course, right in WK's home in Charlotte. Let's talk a bit about what you guys have put together. Kevin, I'll let you lead it first. Maybe give us the origin story on how this even happened. Like, what conversation was started to kick off a race and return to Charlotte? It's crazy.
Yeah. So, we, for those of you that don't know, our office is located in the same industrial park as the Charlotte Motor Speedway. And we didn't really have anything at home. And so I made a phone call to the management there, and I made some nice friends all right out of the chute. And I just simply asked, why aren't we doing business together? And they said, we want to get back into karting. And we sat down and had lunch and banged it out. And they're extremely motivated. They're a great group of people to work with. It's a different management than when WK had the North American Championship there. And the facility is quite different, with the exception of the banked ovals.
Yeah.
So a lot of the elements of that facility have changed. And so we altered a racer experience out of what is there. And I got to tell you, the best NASCAR race I've seen last year was the NASCAR Roval. And so we said, we got to get there. And that was really the foundation of the conversation for road racing. And then, to our knowledge, there's never been karts on their dirt track, and that track is a major draw. It's a big facility, so we're working out how to carve a track out of that. Again, we have the right people helping us. Again, our greatest asset is the people. And so, the Speedway is not opposed to having a long-term relationship where they would put some capital into some of the facilities there to welcome karting again. So, to what extent, it's still yet to be determined. But this is going to be a long-term relationship, and we're thrilled to be a part of their family again, and they're thrilled to be a part of the WK family again. Mike has kind of done a lot of the operations and structuring of the deal, so I'll let him talk further about that.
Mike, let me lay the groundwork again. As Kevin just said, a brand new event at Charlotte Motor Speedway with the WKA, racing on essentially the Roval for the road course. Now, I think the layout's not quite locked in yet. Being told the WK Manufacturers Cup not going to run on the old sprint track that was run before. It's not in really good shape, having sat for so long. So they're looking at more of a temporary circuit using some of the Roval as well. And then, as Kevin alluded to, the dirt event over at the dirt track, which is Charlotte's amazing dirt facility that holds the World of Outlaws and some amazing events, just a tremendous racetrack. So all three programs, again, on the docket for Charlotte Motor Speedway. Mike, let's give me your insight. You've obviously been on the ground floor, as Kevin has said. What can you add to the discussion?
What we did was obviously we had the meeting with them, and then I went back down there and met with the group down there, and we drove the track. It's how could we fit 3 events in this facility at this event? And what we did was we're going to put the Man Cup obviously on the infield portion of it with probably a little bit of a temporary structure added to it just to slow it down a little bit. The road race is going to do the big oval, a little bit of the infield. And we originally were going to just do a paved oval in the 5th mile in the back. And, I said to Kevin on the phone one night, I said, you think we could put a dirt race in there? And he said, well, I don't know. So I actually talked to, I called Buddy Long. Buddy knows that facility better than anybody, especially the dirt stuff. I said, Buddy, you think we could put we could put a dirt race there? He goes, well, it's possible, never been, and I'm thinking, well, Charlotte's not going to let us do that because it's a separate, it's a whole separate stadium. It's huge. It's so I spoke with Maxis about it, talked to Patty and Todd, asked them what they thought. And they said, man, it'd be really cool if we could do that. So I spoke to the track. I said, is there a possibility we could do the dirt track? And the guy goes, I can't see why not. So
why not? Let's do it.
October, we had our meeting. We went over to the track. I took Mackie Flood, who's one of the best track prep guys out there in all the dirt industry, well respected. It was raining that day. Mackie looked at it, and I said, Mackie, you think you could do something with this? And his words were, hell yeah. So
this sounds like one of those if you build it, they will come kind of thing.
And that's what
track of dreams.
That's what everyone's saying. I mean, it's an amazing thing. Is it going to be perfect the first time out? Probably not. Are we going to learn a lot of things? No. Yes. But I really believe with the people that are going to work with us on the dirt track part of it, it's going to be easy. The road race part, I mean, we got Robbie Harper, one of our trustees, one of the most respected road race guys out there. I mean, he's the kind of guy you could just give the keys to in the road race and say, here, take care of it. And he does. Yeah. We got a great staff of people for the Man Cup. The office does great with it. Our race directors, Kevin, myself. It should run smooth. But I mean, I know where I'm going to be, and I'm going to be at that dirt track because that's going to be amazing, Rob. And if you ain't got nothing going on, we're going to get you down there.
Are there thoughts? Can you run it under the lights? Is that a possibility?
We are going to run under the lights. Yes.
Oh, that's what I like to hear.
We'll be running under the lights. We'll practice on probably. We're going to give everybody a good day of practice probably on Friday because again, it's a track that nobody's been to. The dirt guys really aren't accustomed to like a full practice day. But we'll probably do a half practice day. We're going to talk to our people and see what they think, our industry people, and then do some night racing. Definitely Saturday night and. Depending on what they suggest, we'll see how Sunday progresses. If it's just a half day or a late evening thing or whatever they want to do.
What is the actual date for the event? Let's get that out there for everyone.
It's the weekend right after Father's
21,
Day
22, 23.
June.
Yeah. So June.
Right.
So yeah.
Right. As I scramble for a 2019
I got in front
calendar.
of me here. June 21st to 23rd, folks. Again, we'll, of course, have all the information on ekartingnews.com as we are excited to actually continue our partnership with the WK this year for the EKN Trackside Live Tour, again, presented by Cooper Tires. David Cole and Eric Brennan, I believe, going to be trackside again for this year's Manufacturers Cup. Looking forward to it. Guys, here's one more question before we go to the break. And Kevin, I'll let either of you guys kind of jump in on here. Is this the kind of, Kevin, you've alluded to it, is this something that, man, if this race comes off well, if the racers come out, the teams come out and support this, are we thinking, long-term, really productive relationship with the Charlotte Motor Speedway?
Yes. Actually, the most exciting thing about this is, I mean, listen, they got a new management team than we used to be there before. So we are going to have to prove ourselves just like anybody else who shows up there. But as you said, if the teams show up and people show up and racing is there and, this could be a normal part of the WK family. And we're just excited about the possibilities because we've talked about many different growth opportunities with this group of people at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. and it will be a event to participate in for years to come.
I love it. All right, folks, stay with us. More to come here on episode number 14 of the Industry Insider. You're listening to the EKN Radio Network.
Hello, karting fans. This is Gabby Chavez, and you're locked into the EKN Radio Network.
The 2019 season is just around the corner, and Trinity Karting Group is fired up and ready to take up the challenge. Trinity Karting Group is a full-service operation based at the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati, which gives us access to our custom-designed driver training facility. This allows us to offer private one-on-one coaching to take you to the next level. We're also a Midwest dealer for Tony Kart in Miami, and we're your source for MG and Avinco tires in the region. We'll be trackside, the SuperKarts USA Winter Series and Pro Tour, the USPKS, the Battle of the Brickyard, and of course, the KRA Series at Newcastle Motorsports Park. From arrive and drive and coaching programs to the parts you need, let Trinity Karting Group provide you with customer service second to none. Trinity Karting Group has a long history in the sport, a winning pedigree, and we're dedicated to driver development. We take pride in our professional approach and our positive attitude. Let us build a custom race program for you. Give us a call at 513-421-4463 or check us out online at trinitykartinggroup.com.
I'm Jake Craig, and you're listening to the EKN Radio Network.
Are you looking for a new kart shop? One that treats you like you're an important customer? If so, look no further than Acceleration Kart Racing. At Acceleration, customer service is number one. We are a full-time karting business, not a hobby or an afterthought. We have all the products you're looking for, from kid karts to shifters, safety to speed. We strive to offer our customers the best products, prices, and service. At Acceleration Kart Racing, we're always here when you need something for your racing program. Located in Las Vegas, Acceleration is stocked with a wide range of products. We've been helping racers get the right parts for over 16 years. Acceleration has everything that a kart racer needs, from turnkey karts to safety equipment, engines, and more, stocking all of the leading kart racing brands. Here's a taste of the products that we carry every day. CRG, Tony Kart, Bennett, Rotax, Honda, Miami, MG Tires, Avinco, Bridgestone, Mojo, Alpine Stars, Sparco, Ribtech, and EVS, Tillett, Micron, Alfano, Bell, Arai, Zamp, KG, Sniper, SweetTech, and K&N. It doesn't matter where you live in the country. We will get you what you need so you can get back on the track. Acceleration has a sufficient supply of products to ensure that your order can be shipped the very same day. Our knowledgeable staff is available to help customers 6 days a week, and ordering online is open 24 hours a day at shopakr.com. For visitors and locals in the Las Vegas area, Acceleration has a large showroom full of the best kart racing products available. Come on in and check it out. To find out more about what Acceleration has to offer, visit shopakr.com. Again, shopakr.com. And make sure to sign up to be on our mailing list to receive the latest updates and promotions that we send throughout the season. Again, we're a one-stop shop. shopakr.com.
This is Jim McKinney, and you're listening to EKN Radio Network 24/7.
With over 35 years of manufacturing experience, Precision Karting Technologies is the leader in American-made components. We produce high-quality products, led by our full line of chromoly and mild steel axles. Metric or imperial, standard or custom, we have what you need. Collars, keys, bearings, we're the source for axle components in the USA. We're not just axles either. At PKT, we can manufacture motor mounts, hubs, brake rotors, and even GoPro mounts. We're also the choice for axle and chassis straightening. We've designed a dedicated table for the sole purpose of straightening and laser aligning your chassis. If needed, we have the capability to cut, replace, and weld portions of your chassis as well. Big crash bent your frame? Send it to us. Broke a spindle yoke off in a wreck? We can replace it. You don't need to toss that expensive frame in the trash bin. We can fix it. We can repair and straighten chassis, and we CNC machine the finest karting products in the country. With over 70 dealers throughout the U.S. and Canada, it's easy to choose PKT. Family owned and operated, proudly made in the USA. PKT. What's in your kart?
Hello, karting fans. This is IndyCar driver Zach Veach, and you're locked into the EKN Radio Network.
Welcome back to the EKN Radio Network. My name is Rob Howden. This is Industry Insider number 14, December 20th. And pleased to have Kevin Williams and Mike Tetreault with me here on the broadcast today from the WKA, the World Karting Association. We look back at 2018. We talked about the 2019 program. Guys, let's just cap off this podcast. Only a handful of minutes remaining here. Let's talk about what WK is doing moving forward. You know, obviously, Kevin, from the very start of this podcast, you talked about taking kind of the reins in April and just kind of changing the culture in terms of the management of WKA, reaching out, working more on listening and getting input and feedback. Can you talk a little bit maybe about the WK's efforts to grow the connections with your tracks and your clubs that are under the WK sanction?
Yeah, sure. So that's another thing that we've been doing is, a lot of people don't know this. Mike and I are volunteers, and so is our trustees, and so is our committee members. We do this for the love of the sport and to help the membership. One of the things I wanted to do is I introduced every third Thursday of the month, I do a half-hour Facebook Live just to gather more input. And one of the things that has come from that is do you talk to more tracks? And we really just like to welcome new tracks. And I talked to a track yesterday. It isn't even one of our tracks that had a karting question. That's what an association does. So to help the tracks and the regions and those kind of things, we encourage them to develop regional programs that we can endorse. We're looking very heavily towards electric karting, and that could be the growth of the future. As you know, Rob, my past life, I'm a corporate guy, so there's a lot of corporations who are interested in seeing some electric stuff. Electric is the buzzword in motorsports right now, especially in Europe. So we're looking at that, and we're looking at supporting our tracks and our clubs to get back to some regional support. So the national races that WK puts on, they have something to race up to. So those are part of the growth patterns, but certainly the grassroots level and the tracks is really a big part of us having membership to begin with.
You know, Kevin, you mentioned the electric side of karting. We're of course seeing it with the Formula E series. There's Jaguar's got their their E series as well. A lot of electric stuff coming, which is interesting. And I know, of course, WK's did some work as well with the guys from Purdue University and the E-Prix. Let's talk about the WK's future. I think that's why I kind of wanted to segue to electric. Not saying that the WK is going to electric anytime soon, but just from where you guys are, you always have to have a long-term view, right? You can't just think micro. You got to think macro. What do you guys see right now? What are your thoughts on the future of the WKA?
Well, we also need to give ourselves a media foot also, and we've had. And when you speak about electric and the Purdue, I actually just got their renewal agreement this morning, so that's coming back next year. That's going to be great. But we also are improving our media footprint, where we didn't really have so much social media until this year, and it's been fantastic because that's where a lot of the karters like to communicate, as you know.
Agreed. Yep.
And so we've improved that. We're always talking about television production. And I've even negotiated a little bit with a couple other media producers, which I can't really talk about now. But the idea is to help educate the public and people, and it's sad, but too often. Some kids these days and families don't have enough access to motorsports, and some of our media package will help them do that. There'll be more on that later, but we just needed some content to push out to help the entire sport of karting, and as an association would do.
Kevin, one thing I want to mention, you just brought the term up, and I think when it comes to the WK, I think it's key. Obviously, there's a lot of places to race if you're trying to get your kid to cars, which we all know is a very, very tough thing to do. You spend a lot of money. One of the things about the WKA, you guys are such a part of the foundation of the sport, right? That bottom part of the pyramid that gives karting its real strength. The top level stuff doesn't provide strength. It provides kind of a odd bubble in terms of whether or not the sport is strong. The foundation, club racing, good regional racing, is really starting to firm up again. It's growing. The 206 has done well. The WK really, and I'll say this straight out, really is one of those core components of the foundation. You guys think about family, and that's the word I keyed on. You talk about families enjoying this sport. That's what really this is all about. This isn't about jumping on iRacing by yourself. It's mom, dad, sister, son, everybody out there racing together and having fun. You guys are so much about family.
That's exactly right. Even our thank you banner that we're going to put up at Daytona this year is made up of nothing but family photos. So, and again, that's what an association does. And with their membership, we provide that avenue of karting where people can all be involved and participate. I wrote a special Start Karting page on the worldkarting.com website that has links to clubs, to tracks, to retailers, and it doesn't say anything about what a KT100 Yamaha is or any of those other things. It just says we have a place for everybody. If mom wants to be involved in the scoring, if dad wants to be involved on the grid, and the brother is wrenching on the sister's cart, that's what we're about. So and that's what we embrace. And it was written in such a way to help those people migrate to the sport to see this is a place for everybody.
Yeah, that's part of the identity you guys talked about, Mike. You talked about the identity of your program, and Kevin, of course, talking about the identity of the organization on the whole, and that's about family racing and having a good time, affordable motorsports. Guys, we're almost done this podcast. I'll give you each a chance to maybe give some final thoughts. Kevin, we'll start with you. What are your final thoughts here to wrap up this Industry Insider?
I have been extremely thankful and pleased with the approval and acceptance of the industry as a whole. I can't thank karting enough for everything it's done for me and my family through, almost 45 years now. If I'm that old, but
yeah.
And it continues on. I got an email today from Kevin Miller at USAC. We talked to them. I mean, I can't be thankful enough to the sport of karting and the family of motorsports, and that drives us to help you guys as racers.
Mike, I don't know if you're at the 45 mark, but you've been around for 20 plus years. What are your thoughts, final thoughts here on the WK and everything you guys have done, with Kevin at the helm over the last 8 months?
Well, I mean, you made that comment, if you build it, they will come. My biggest thing is if you listen, they will come. And that's going to continue to be my point, is listening to the people and trying to deliver the best product available to them. That will help us grow. Communication with other series is going to be huge. Scheduling, things like that. A little teaser, and I'm not putting anything to it, but there is with Charlotte it's back to back. USPKS is racing the weekend before, and then us at Charlotte. Who knows? Maybe there could be like a little Carolina shootout
That's right.
in the works there for an event like that. So. Not saying it's going to happen, but there's, you never know.
Well, you guys have already shown the decision, or at least the attempt to work with other organizations. So that could be something that could happen. I like it. All right, folks, let's cap this thing off. We're done. I want to thank my guests today, Kevin Williams and Mike Tetreault from the World Karting Association. I think pretty easy to hear from the words that they sent out here today on this podcast that it's an open door policy to try to grow this sport. They're doing a lot of great things. They're coming up with their own identity for the World Karting Association and moving it forward into the future. Our sport's certainly changing, and the WKA evolving as they need to, as we all do, to continue to listen to the customers. I do want to thank them again for joining us. Big race coming up in Daytona, folks, WK Kart Week, but I guarantee you the work continues on the event that will take place in late June at Charlotte Motor Speedway. From what Kevin and Mike are telling us, a lot of great stuff coming for the WKA. Follow them, of course, on social media, World Karting. I believe it's worldkarting.com for the website as well. Just a a great way to stay connected. Kevin, again, doing his Facebook Live the third Thursday of every month, I believe. Kevin, is that correct?
Third Thursday every month, 7 p.m. Eastern, and it's open mic. If I can't give you an answer, I'll get it for you and get it to you later.
Just simply great accessibility, though, for the president of the WK, something that we haven't seen in the 50-something years of the organization. Folks, we wrapped it up. An hour-long podcast here with the big dogs at the WK. I want to thank them again for being with us. Thank you for listening to the EKN Radio Network. My name's Rob Howden. Bye for now.